Madan.
Hey, hey.
Again, my gosh, how's your week been, man?
Good, good. The weather's getting warmer here in Japan, and I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
I remember, man, you mentioned to me you prefer colder temperatures and whatnot.
Yep. Give me some ice and snow, and I'm a happy bunny.
Yeah, no, I'm in the hotter part, down in the like Japan's Hawaii, Okinawa.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's yeah, very musty. No, musty. Humid is the
Humid,
word. Yeah, and quite
humid.
musty
Yeah.
too. But
Not
and
a dry
my
ass cracking around.
Never mind, I tell you, man. I've been told that even I need sunscreen because after a while the sun stops eating away at your skin. So
That it
I
does.
guess we're all the same inside, eh?
Bringer of light and warmth, grower of vegetables, and still bringer of cancer. Bastard.
My God.
That said, right, I am quite excited because we haven't been talking in a while. We're here to talk about some interesting topics because there's some real rumblings going along. PlayStation, what the smeg?
I tell you, man. I tell you, and you know me. I mean, I've been dropping videos now and then. Everybody, it's like faceless YouTuber. I've gone faceless YouTuber because my camera's been so poor. I've been told. So for those of you who don't know, I just resorted to doing voiceovers and just recording my commentary on news items about PlayStation's controversies and so on as of late. But as you know, this is to be expected, as we know. PlayStation's as the gamer guru, what's someone's name? Guru Light would say, the company known for not afraid to upset the status quo, if you will. Uh, yeah, they're just getting people riled up now over and over. But that being said, I'd love to hear Gamer Dan's take on the matter. Uh,
I'm I'm upset, but I'm not surprised. Those long-time viewers will know I'm a bit of an OG gamer. I've been around the block and I've seen a few things. So I remember back in the 2010s, the PlayStation Network shutting down,
mm,
completely
yeah,
unusable,
yeah.
and the great, frustration with fans. I remember when, and only a few years ago, when crossplay was the buzzword and everyone was connecting. And you know what? That seemed like a natural progression. A lot of these companies have got exclusives. All right, fine. That's how you sell units. If you want to sell a console, you got to sell us on the exclusives. What can we get from OU and only you? But the gaming has changed. The gaming landscape has changed. People who talk about the gaming wars, I'm an old hand. I remember actual gaming wars. Nowadays, we have multiplats. We have games on every platform, and most games are multiplat. So the idea of them fencing their players off in little gardens, that seems so stupid. It seems so counterproductive. Why not have all the players who play the same game in the same ecosystem? So
Mm.
along comes Minecraft and Rocket League, and they go, yeah, let's do it. And they get everyone, the PC players are playing with the Switch players are playing with the Xbox players, the Xbox are playing with the PC. And what does PlayStation do? Stick their head in the sand. The fucking ostrich defense, great, well done.
That's it.
But so now they're doing the same thing. Oh, you have to have a PlayStation Network account if you want to play a PlayStation game on a bleeping PC.
I, I gotta say, there's definitely a unipody, if you will, amongst the gaming, what's the word called? Monopolists, if I said
Mm.
it right now, and to the point where everybody, uh, what do you call it? This cartel, if you will, tends to win no matter what. But I'm sure Sony is, even though now that everybody's in it together, in a matter of speaking, as far as this elite is concerned, they're still thinking they don't want to become another Sega. So they think you got to protect our thing. But the problem is that's what kind of drove Sega off the deep end of it. Remember that whole not Jaguar, sorry, the whole Sega Saturn Legend versus the 299 PS2.
Yeah.
That was a cautionary tale to remind people. Uh, don't
I think
unnecessarily.
Sega's a tale of hubris. Sega was so ahead of the curve in so many ways that they weren't playing on sure footing. It was the Batman Begins moment, they sacrificed a sure footing for a killing strike. and they kept pushing ahead, and we respect Sega. Historically, we look back upon them fondly. You know, they had modems in their machines a decade before anyone else. They were doing DLC before people knew what DLC was. They were so on the bleeding edge, they slipped and cut themselves.
Yeah, that's a great analogy right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, I think that was they are a company that should be respected, but a cautionary tale. You know, you don't run so far ahead. You don't put all your eggs in one basket, and you don't give all your money to a guy who wants to build Shenmue.
Well, yes, you might love for the Mr. Yu Suzuki, but yes, I understand that history speaks, and that's what happened to Sega.
Yeah. History's hindsight is 2020. You know, looking back, clearly it was a poor decision, but at the time made perfect sense. PlayStation, I feel, has gotten a little bit big for its britches because they are the de facto winner of this generation. I would argue that they're the top dog in this generation because while the Switch is sold like gangbusters, everyone loves the Switch. They aren't competing with the Switch anymore. It's PlayStation and Xbox's race. If you're talking about a console war, it's between the two big titles. And this generation, PlayStation crushed it. I mean, their exclusives are fantastic. They made smart decisions. They picked up some good companies. And Microsoft, you know, they've been making some big swings. You know, they bought Activision Blizzard. That's not nothing. But it also opened them up to legality, you know, monopolization and antitrust laws. You know, they've been buying a lot of companies, but now they're selling companies and companies that people are making money, companies that are making critical darlings. They are not making good decisions. But now PlayStation, I think it's hubris. In my opinion, it is PlayStation's hubris that is doing this. They want a measure of control. The reason they didn't do the cross-platform is they wanted a control over their own ecosystem. And if it's their garden, you join their garden, their network, and then you play by their rules. Okay. But if you're working together, you're going to have to relinquish some of that. You're going to have to let it be someone else's game. And I don't think PlayStation are like that. They're a Japanese company. They're very territorial. Look at Konami. They've been sitting on a dragon's horde of classic games. And what have they been doing? Pachinko machines. Pachinko machines. I swear, there was a great comment I saw just the other day talking about, it was time to relinquish Metal Gear Solid 4. We've had the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection. Thank you. Yes, they released poor versions of those games, but 1, 2, or 3 available on modern consoles. That's a good thing. We want PlayStation 4. We want Metal Gear Solid 4. Give us Metal Gear Solid 4. And someone said, oh, if they don't release Metal Gear Solid 4 on the next Master Collection, I'm just going to self-immolate. I'm going to stand outside of Konami and set myself on fire. And that's how fervent the fans are, and how hard Konami is at keeping what is theirs.
That's the thing. Okay, I do want to give a comment, but let's. I wanted to. Let me see. I wanted to intersperse my commentary amidst any video you may have had. I understand you wanted to share a video. So, sorry, share a video. Did you have any video?
Yes, we do have a video we're going to be watching. We'll jump onto that in a moment. But do you want to finish your thoughts?
Okay, sure. Well, how would I say this? Excuse me. Very interesting situation. When it comes to Sony and Microsoft, they again, Sega is not even the only company to learn from in terms of how not to operate in the in the industry. But it's because Sega was originally a hardcore game company, and then you have Sony and Microsoft running with their respective consoles. From the other end, that they came with money and tech, and they thought we can buy all the gaming heads to make our stuff work. And in my opinion, it works, but it doesn't have the soul of what Nintendo has. Now again, Sega had soul, but even Sega soul, it was still competitive at its core more than I think, focus more on their own IPs. Maybe I'm wrong. I think I'm probably wrong in saying that. But you take, on the other end, Google Stadia. That's a company with a lot more money and tech and Sony or Microsoft, I imagine. Um,
Well,
and
yeah, Google's
uh,
enormous
yeah,
company.
and even they, you, with all that you think would have they are going for them, wouldn't go for Stadia. Now again, who knows? Maybe they'll come in the future. I doubt it, but who knows? And it's funny that this is to say. I wonder. It's not even how you come into the industry. I guess it's how you respect your audience. I think that's what it comes down to, isn't it? Because Nintendo, they're not known for going. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm. Are they known for going around buying up all these companies like Sony and Microsoft?
Nintendo are more careful. They're more, they have bought companies. They've signed exclusive deals with certain companies. I mean, Game Freak is a subsidiary of Nintendo, but they are given license to do their own thing. They're like Pixar. They're
Yeah,
doing so well. The main branch is like, you know what? Just you do your thing, and we'll just take a cut. But I do think that Google Stadia and Sega are apt analogies because they were both pushing out ahead, trying to do something that was maybe ahead of its time. The idea of cloud-based gaming is a wonderful concept. It's a wonderful idea, but it does rely upon too many other outside sources. I mean, if you don't have your internet providers company, if you don't have the internet provider companies giving you the bandwidth,
yeah.
then no matter how good the service you provide, it's using someone else's tech. It is reliant upon the connections that another company owns. And there are just too many places with terrible internet.
It's interesting, but
Eh,
yeah,
If,
and you
if
see that
Google
this.
had if Google had their own proprietary networks, their own connections, that you could be guaranteed a certain speed, Stadia might have had a chance.
That's a good point,
they
dude. That's
they also
such a
needed
good
their own
point.
games. They
Yeah.
just didn't support it. Great platform, nothing to play.
This is what I love about these stories, and I love going to people like DJ Soap and even what's the man's name? Oh, you know what, Lady Decade. I've been into her videos recently. She's got a nice little take on things. Um, it's in that you, of course, people you've recommended to. Excuse me. You have uh, it's the idea of it's again. It's just like what I love to talk about when it comes to AI. People think we just it's like throw money at things, throw AI at things, and it'll all work out. It's
Oh
not the
yes.
case. I always say there's another revelation I had recently about AI, but I'll save it for another day. In essence, I'm saying that it's it's no it's no substitute for actually caring about what you're doing, you know. And when it comes to the actual, um, yeah, on one hand, yes, it seems that if you have enough money to make something work, it would work. Of course, we've seen with the music industry and so many other pop entities, of course not. Uh, when it comes to Pixar, is a good comparison to Game Freak for what if Nintendo's Disney, then Pixar's Game Freak. That's a well, perhaps you could. Yeah, they even took off at the same time, around about the 2000s with Toy Story and Pokemon. Um, in that there's a heart in those things. Game Freak has a heart. Pixar has a heart. Now again, when Disney took, in my opinion, they kind of uh, influenced it in a way I wasn't too thrilled with. But that being said, you're still dealing with people who actually care for the product itself, care for the words,
Yeah,
care for the art.
I don't disagree with you there. I think Game Freak care about making good games, but they are kind of stuck in the rut. They struck upon such a golden goose. They can't think of changing it. And so it's been so long now. We're like, yeah, the games need to evolve. We need a more adult version. But I think hubris and corporate culture is you're quite right. It's corporate culture. If you go into an industry looking to make a profit, then you're never going to be a huge success. You can make some money, but you need a love of the field. You need to love the game if you want to be a true success. Nintendo is good at what they do because they want to make good games. They have a thing they want to do and they want to do it well. And for the most part, I think Sony's pretty similar. They've made some really boneheaded moves, which is why we're here today. But when I think of Sony, I think of a company that wants to make games. Microsoft just feels like a company trying to stay relevant. You know, the last generation, they didn't talk about their console as a console. They talked about it as a mass media unit. And you could watch TV on it, and you could play DVDs and music. And you're like, yeah, what am I supposed to play? Well, you know, I've got a music player, I've got a TV, I've got other things that I can do these things with. I come to you because I want to play games. And I think for a while, Microsoft is kind of undersold, but they're such a massive company, they can kind of flounder and just throw money at things. They bought Rare back in the day, and what did they do with it? Nothing. It's a damn shame. One of the greatest companies at the time, and it's just it produced garbage. Right, but no, we're getting off track. We're talking about Sony. We're talking about what the Sony culture and what's going on in the world with Sony today. There's a great video, and I want to support this channel. This is called Second Wind. It's the guys who escaped from The Escapist, and it's also their own channel, and they are doing great stuff. So, I mean, Yahtzee Croshaw from Zero Punctuation, now fully Ramblonic, and this guy is cold take. I love him. Great voice, great thoughts. So we're going to watch his video, and occasionally we're going to pause it and have our own little interjections.
Absolutely, mate. Let's do it. Give me a little swig.
Okay. Can you see the little swiggle?
Yes. Oh, by the way, everybody, I apologize for not having my Super Saiyan insignia.
I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to say, but...
Yeah, I left it at work. So sucks. But oh well, hopefully nobody's going to turn it away. In which case, I'd have to Kamehameha them. Anywho.
Good man. Right, let's do this thing.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, it's a bit quiet actually. Can you crank it a little? That's
yeah.
Right. Okay, I got it.
I think what keeps my brain hooked on business is that it's all one big puzzle, constantly moving but never changing. Same goes for people. They cycle and circle over and over until something finally gives and the momentum sends us slingshotting into the next stage. Similar to before, but with a fresh coat of paint. History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes, eh, Samuel Clemens? And gaming is like a virus, not a slur this time. I mean that in the biological sense, and the way it reproduces so fast it advances to the next generation at an alarming rate, so it's observable and profitable if you can predict what's coming. Gambling? What? The sexy cousin of statistics that potentially puts out on the first date? Where? Just know that this video is about Sony PlayStation, not because I hate them and love Microsoft Xbox, but because their business moves baffle me right now, and I like that in a woman. PlayStation sits cross-legged on top of the poker table with both their hands in their hoodie pouch and a 1,000-yard stare too cross-eyed for me to read. My muse, I must paint you. Xbox I get, Nintendo I get, you... I feel like I did the math right, PlayStation, but the answer I keep coming back to doesn't look right. Isolationism, captive audience, aggressive budget balancing, it feels so 2017. We now know for certain that PlayStation had a commanding lead over Xbox back in 2016 in all three categories, hardware, software, and cultural impact. The PS4 outsold the Xbone by 2-1. PlayStation had a better lineup of exclusives, and they had a contract with Call of Duty that kept the esports scene locked into PlayStation consoles. The Xbox empire was running low on resources and looking to extend the cross-play olive branch. Once for Minecraft and once again for Rocket League.
Boom! We talked about this earlier. Back in the mid-2010s, crossplay became the thing, but it was just like an olive branch. It was also a saving grace for the Xbox because it allowed the Xbox players to work with other platforms. But what did PlayStation do?
Interesting, dude. I gotta say, yeah. My gosh, it reminds me of when you're talking about cross-playing, and it reminds me of what you're saying earlier about this need to converge all this technology like Microsoft does. And for that matter, Ken Kutaragi, I think, he was famed for saying, I think Guru Larry put it once in his video when he called him Crazy Ken. Doing the PlayStation 3, he said, the PlayStation is not a gaming machine. He never once said it's a gaming machine. It's a supercomputer. And whenever I hear people saying that, I'm thinking, you're not for me. I want games. Like, just don't. But
it's this sad idea that people who get into the gaming industry specifically, and they look at the tech side of it, and they look at the capabilities, and they look at the computing side and the capabilities, and you're like, yeah, that's great and all, but this is a machine designed to play play an app, and that app is designed to play a game.
Yeah.
Once you lose sight of that, you end up with Google Stadia. You end up with, you know, people who are so excited, enamored by the tech that there's nothing to do with it.
Exactly, and wow, it's just like I used to think to myself, and I used to think about my family, my mother and everybody would say to me about pop stars, rather rappers or singers or whatever, who's more important, the singer, singers with the band at least, singers or the people who make the backing tracks. It's ironic. It seems that the person who has the beat or whatever you want to call it, the backing track, or provides the instrumentals, the accompaniment, they the puppet masters, they are more important, but apparently not. If you take that artist, their human element that people can relate to away, that is just that music all of a sudden becomes superfluous, and in the worst cases noise, and it's just like you say, a game machine without a game, a gun without ammo, and it's like
That's an interesting analogy, because I recently, maybe I'm just getting old. It's not just the grey in my hair, but I have gotten more of a taste for soundtracks. I would rather put on a movie backing track rather than a vocalized song. Instead of someone singing a song and telling me a story, I'd rather just hear the music and then create my own story in my head. And there's a couple of really great bands out there. Two Steps from Hell is a fantastic band for a lot, very, very popular for very long, who do just stunning music with not a lick of vocals. And you can take them and put them, but the song is so well crafted, it's clearly telling a story. You can almost imagine the scenario in your head because it's so vibrant and vitalized, but there's no human element beyond the composers. But again, I think you're right that the human element there is in the sounds, not the vocals. Whereas a lot of the rapping and especially some of the older stuff, the backing track is so basic. It's so manufactured. It's just there to create a beat for someone to rap with. It's not the purpose. So whatever art you're creating, if you don't have that human element in whatever way, shape or form, without that human touch, and again, like with the video game companies, like you said, if these companies don't have that personable element, it's just not going to work.
Exactly, mate. And I completely agree with what you said about the artists like artists like, I'm trying to think of another example. Elbow, no, artists who are known for making their backing tracks speak for them. What is it? Their instrumentals who speak through their instruments. So they provide a human element through the instrumentation, and therefore the human element is there. But if you're dealing with a situation where something is so stripped and it's just there, like just to
it's there to fill the blank. It's just there. It's just to fill the dead noise. It's like you can always tell artists who truly are once in a generation, transcendent, and then they are as much vocalists as they are composers. I know at the end of his life he was a bit prickly, but I still think Michael Jackson was one of the greatest.
Oh my god!
Just
there's no doubt about it, man.
The Bad album, freaking incredible.
No doubt.
Right, back to the video. But yes, we need the human element. So, what is PlayStation doing?
But Sony refused to open the gates to the PlayStation Kingdom. The official excuse given by then CEO Jim Ryan was that Xbox curates a library of degeneracy for a clan of lawless undesirables. I took creative liberties, added a little flair. The type of games and people that PlayStation doesn't want to risk exposing its own player base to. Think of the children. Well, that interview took a funny turn when it was brought out that Nintendo seems to not have a problem with Xbox's player base, and they are perhaps the most mindful video game company of the protection of children. To which Jim Ryan responded, "Yeah, that's true. Everyone has to make their own decisions."
Yeah, Nintendo were okay with it.
My decision was to tell Xbox, go die somewhere that's not my welcome map, please. Makes sense. Why would you expose your own player base to the competition when you're winning? No, you want disenfranchised Xbox players to convert to the PlayStation ecosystem. That is until a little game called Fortnite became too big to ignore. Xbox, Nintendo, Apple, Epic Games, Steam, virtually every gaming platform came together to push PlayStation under the bus. Shame. Shame. Full-blown crossplay for all is possible, but you're the one holding us back because you want to watch Xbox starve to death. I said, please, what more do you want from me? Crossplay was the future, and PlayStation had to get with the times. But they still held on tight to their exclusives. Every March 24th, I log off of the internet prematurely to avoid going mad from the haunting wails for a game yet remastered and a port never delivered. Whosoever pries Bloodborne away from PlayStation's bone-crushing grip will be crowned the new King of England, I swear. A cultural win was Plan B. The Last of Us, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Returnal.
I gotta say, it was funny he mentioned From Software's Bloodborne. The amount of money PlayStation, Sony forked out to get the exclusivity deal on From Software, or at least on that game, was crazy. But they were one of the many companies that turned From Software down in their earlier days when they released Demon's Souls, their first Japanese-made released. Sony turned it away. It was smaller companies to pick them up, and now they are laughing, freaking laughing, because they are their own genre. They basically invented a brand new genre. So bravo, kudos to them.
Sure. Okay, wait, hold on. The next point I'm going to make after... Let's play a bit more. I'm going to formulate my idea of what
Horizon. Meanwhile, Xbox and leaked emails lamented having no real titles to compete with, to the point where Phil Spencer publicly accepted third place in the console space, which was a smart move in a you may have beat me in the straight, but I'll catch you on the curves kind of way. Microsoft's strategy was to get a head start on the next Battlefield via cross-play, acquisitions, live service, and cloud gaming. Stuff all the mobile and cloud tech and gaming IP into my mouth so that Sony can't have any of it. Nearly choked trying to open wide enough to swallow Activision Blizzard due to
There it is. These are all companies that Microsoft have been acquiring.
Okay.
There it is. Activision Blizzard 4. Holy moly. Just...
I guess Microsoft does some scary tycoons. But
Well, they've got the money, they've got the bank behind it. They've got Windows behind them to afford all this. And they are, I think, they've accepted, the fact that they accepted this generation, they've lost. And they went, screw it. What about next generation? We're going to win that one. And so they're playing the long game. They're making decisions that are going to benefit them down the line. It's like buying Activision Blizzard meant that Call of Duty is theirs. Yeah, they've agreed that they're not going to take it away from PlayStation now. Okay, but give it a generation, boom. It's if you want to play the classic, the big titles, you gotta go to Xbox. It's cruel, but it's effective strategy.
Dude, wait 1 second. Let me just turn on my AC. It's sweltering. One sec, people. Be right back. Hold on. You can still hear me, right, Gamer Dan?
Yeah, I can hear you. Looking at this, Alio, take lessons, clip champ, peer, suplex, cloud, not. Clear software.
Back, baby. Here we go. Cameras rolling.
from various go.
Oh wait, before we proceed, dude.
Shoot.
I'm gonna say, one thing it's reminded me. I remember what I was gonna say. Guru Larry. There we go. I love that guy. Yeah, well, anyway, who knows? Maybe he's just. I can't keep talking about him, but he's one of my favorite YouTubers. But anyway,
Draw from whatever well of inspiration you've got.
Yeah, that's it. You just gotta say it. And the other thing he said was Microsoft was hated for buying companies and destroying them. I think that's one thing he was mentioning. He was mentioning one of the videos he covered a while back. Do you know anything about Microsoft trashing or buying companies and just almost like gutting them?
Yeah, some. I mean, they picked up companies, but unlike Unichronic Arts, which just absorbed and destroys companies on a regular basis, Microsoft have picked up a number of companies, but they tend to pick up companies for a purpose. They'll pick them up and go, hey, we want you to be successful. And looking at a number of these here, things that they're famous for, they're good with, they aren't necessarily video games, but they are productivity, educational cons, software, cloud infrastructure. And these companies are the building blocks for an overall network to be able to draw upon lots of different options.
This is serious stuff.
EA's famous for
Right?
buying and destroying companies because they've done it dirty for so many. But Microsoft have done this. I mean, they've bought up companies. I mentioned before, Rare, the shining gem of the N64
I mean,
and the
Nintendo.
SNES, the Super Famicom
Spanish.
generation and the N64 generation. Rare was a beacon. They redefined first-person shooters with GoldenEye. They set the bar with kart racers with Diddy Kong. You know, it's just incalculable to
Banjo.
think they're Banjo-Kazooie, and Donkey Konga's Bad Fur Day. They were hitting it out of the park so much they basically could write their own check. You know, they were just so successful. But they got bought out by Microsoft, and you know, I remember I bought an Xbox 360 specifically because they bought. Microsoft bought Rare, and one of the first games on that console was Perfect Dark Zero, was the sequel to Perfect Dark, which was the one of the last big games released by Rare on the N64, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. But I thought, hey, okay, new generation, new technology, massive paycheck. Let's see what you've got. Oh God. Oh, it was just terrible. And after that, they just made, you know, kiddie-style platformers, and then Kinect games.
Yeah, you know what? I think one thing that really disappointed me was Killer Instinct. Now, at the same time, I love Killer Instinct. You know, I'm a
Great franchise. Great
yeah, man,
franchise.
it's you know me. I'm a fighting game person. We've gamed a lot, but I haven't really had a punch up with you.
No, since the last time you kicked my ass on Street Fighter.
If I show you a Killer Instinct,
I learned my lesson. All right, I learned my lesson. I'm wary until for the next time.
Well, you know, I'll dip into your territory a bit more next time, so it's more even. But that being said, people, I gotta say, Killer Instinct.
How do you flex on someone with an RPG? I've got more potions than you.
Well, I think I'll do a round of banjo, and I'm sure you'll defeat me. But but that being said, mate, the Killer Instinct on the Xbox without blood sucks. Now I can't blame them too much because Street Fighter has came out. You know, when Street Fighter 2 came out, and Street Fighter 1, you know when you punch them in the belly, they'd vomit, they'd blood,
Yeah.
they'd bleed. But Blanco would bite somebody, blood come out their head. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that Street Fighter was actually a bloody game, but it was very subtle. When Mortal Kombat said that, let's just decapitate people. And then
Yes,
Mortal Kombat's the
I
only
think
one that
that
kept it real.
When,
with the violence.
when it was Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. Oh, my video's gone a bit chunky. But so back in the day when it was like the two big fighting games were Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, people overlooked how much blood there was in Street Fighter because the alternative was Mortal Kombat, which was just blood soaked, you know, fatalities and whatnot. So yeah, when people think, oh, Street Fighter's the gentleman's fighting game, the quality fighting game, it's the non bloody one. I'm like, do you remember back in the day?
Yes, pow pow. These blowing chunks all over the floor. This is
Sure.
which is what a real Street Fighter looks like. So with that being said, when Street Fighter came out, you know, Street Fighter 4, in fact even before then, and when you punch out, you just see sparks flying and whatnot. Even Marvel vs. Capcom, and I mean I love those games for that matter. But when it comes out without all the blood, you can understand why Killer Instinct could consider let's go for the less brutal version. But Killer Instinct is supposed to be a blend of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. And if you're leaving the blood out, it's just it's like a Power Rangers episode. I'm like, what
Yeah,
you idiots?
it's a damn shame. I mean, it didn't have to be as blood soaked, but it needs to have a little. It's supposed to be a more realistic, not realistic, but it's got to be a more balanced fighting game. And these are massive characters beating each other beating each other up. So there's got to be a bit of blood. You expect it.
That's it. Give me that. Your camera's frozen, by the way.
It has frozen. Yes, I know. Unfortunately, the zoom is slowing down on me. I'm just.
I wonder if you should. You want I think if you come out and come back in, it should.
Sure. I'll be back in a second.
Okay, I'll be here, boss.
Go.